How dangerous is flying a fighter jet when your country isn't even at war? Here's a number that should stop you cold. Since 1947, India has lost more than 1,260 military aircraft and at least 1,126 pilots. And most of those deaths didn't happen in combat. They happened during training, routine missions, and peacetime operations. What you're about to hear isn't just about accidents. It's about the hidden cost of air power, the limits of technology, incompetence, and a risk that never disappears even when the skies are calm. If this trend continues, it shapes far more than aviation safety. It determines how India projects power, how credible its deterrence really is, and how prepared it would be in a sudden crisis. Fighter jets are meant to be the first responders in war, the tools that signal strength before soldiers ever cross a border. But when those same jets carry a persistent peacetime danger, the balance between readiness and risk becomes razor thin. This is where strategy, training, politics, and human biology collide. To understand why, you have to look beyond a single crash or a single aircraft type. India's military aviation history stretches back before independence, and the data tells a stark story. Aircraft losses spiked sharply during wars, especially in 1965 when dozens of planes were destroyed on the ground by Pakistani Air Force. Yet outside of war, losses never vanished. They simply became quieter, spread across decades of training flights, patrols, and exercises. Over time, the raw numbers declined, not because flying became safe, but because safety systems, procedures, and oversight became relentless. India operates a diverse air fleet. Fighters, transport aircraft, helicopters, maritime patrol planes, trainers, and reconnaissance platforms all serve different missions. They respond to wars, humanitarian disasters, evacuations, and deterrence patrols. This constant use means exposure never stops. And among all categories, fighter jets stand apart. Since 2000 alone, over 210 Indian fighter aircraft have been lost in just over 200 serious incidents, killing more than 70 pilots. That fact alone forces an uncomfortable question. Why are the most advanced, expensive machines being downed by Indian Air Force itself? The answer starts with what a fighter jet actually demands from a human body and good pilots. This is not commercial flying. It is sustained exposure to forces humans were never designed to endure. At high speed, a pilot can experience forces 7 or 8 times their body weight. Blood is pulled away from the brain toward the legs. Vision narrows, then vanishes. If the force spikes too quickly, consciousness can disappear entirely. Even a moment of blackout at low altitude is enough to make recovery impossible. Altitude brings its own danger. Fighter jets climb rapidly to heights where oxygen pressure drops sharply. Any interruption in oxygen flow risks hypoxia, a silent impairment that clouds judgment before the pilot realizes anything is wrong. At even higher levels, decompression effects cause nitrogen bubbles to form in the bloodstream, leading to pain, confusion, and physical incapacitation. None of this waits politely for a safe moment to happen. Then there is disorientation. The inner ear evolved for a world where gravity is constant and the ground stays below your feet. In violent aerial maneuvers, especially at night or over featureless terrain, that system lies. Pilots can feel upright while descending, turning while flying straight, or level while inverted. The brain trusts the body, not the instruments, and in that brief conflict, fatal decisions can be made. Layer all of that on top of mental pressure. A fighter pilot flies alone. There is no crew to cross-check mistakes in real time. Every second demands focus, situational awareness, radio coordination, and systems management. Outside the cockpit, pilots are still human. Stress, fatigue, distraction, and emotion don't stop at the runway. Training exists to compartmentalize that reality, but it never disappears completely. What makes this more complex is that accidents are rarely caused by a single factor. Investigations repeatedly show a mix of technical issues and human error. In recent years, roughly half of India's fighter accidents involve servicing or aircrew mistakes, while others trace back to mechanical faults, foreign object damage, or bird strikes. Even the most scrutinized aircraft, the MiG-21, shows why perception can mislead. Despite its reputation, when adjusted for flying hours, its accident rate was comparable to similar era jets worldwide. Its problem was longevity, not uniqueness. Now zoom out to the strategic layer. India's fighter fleet is shrinking at the worst possible moment. With the final MiG-21 squadrons set to retire, the Indian Air Force is down to around 29 fighter squadrons, far below its sanctioned strength of 42. Meanwhile, Pakistan fields about 25 and China operates more than 60. Aircraft shortages don't just weaken numbers, they compress training schedules, increase aircraft utilization, and amplify risk. Every delay in induction pushes pilots and machines harder. The bottleneck is no secret. Indigenous fighter production has fallen behind schedule, with over 100 aircraft still pending delivery. Foreign alternatives face long global order queues, meaning even emergency decisions would take years to translate into jets on tarmacs. In the meantime, pilots keep flying, training intensifies, and margins shrink. Now consider two futures. In one scenario, India accelerates production, streamlines procurement, and modernizes training with advanced simulators and predictive maintenance. Accident rates fall further, squadron strength stabilizes, and air power regains breathing room. In another scenario, delays persist, aircraft age, and operational tempo rises due to regional tensions. Accidents remain statistically rare, but every loss hits harder, reducing readiness faster than replacements can arrive. The consequences ripple far beyond India. In South Asia, air power is the fastest escalator in any crisis. A weakened or overstretched air force alters deterrence calculations in Islamabad and Beijing. In the Middle East, where Indian pilots train and operate, perceptions of reliability and capability is crumbling. With recent conflict in May 2025 as well as conflict in February 2019 against Pakistan, the capabilities of Indian air power was badly exposed, showing that a big power like India is unable to have a commendable air power. This is the paradox of modern air power. It is the most flexible, precise, and rapid tool of statecraft, yet it demands constant sacrifice even in peace. Every training flight carries the weight of readiness and risk. Every accident forces a nation to ask whether it is moving fast enough to protect those who protect it. With all this in front of us, it is quite easily notable that with Indian Air Force having great manpower, it still lacks behind in terms of quality competence. With non-seriousness attitude from its government and its higher ups, Indian Air Force might not only lose men, but also battles, like it has recently.